Hello and good morning, Sudoku fans, and welcome to an País expert puzzle. Whether this is really an expert puzzle or a hard puzzle or medium level puzzle, I don't know. It's branded an expert puzzle on their website, and that's all I can tell you because I haven't solved it yet. If it turns out to be easy, so be it. In any event, let's get started right away with a 1 that must go here because of these ones blocking here, 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 and here. So here's a 1. We have a 1 and a 9 accounted for in column 3. Now we need to look for a 2 and an 8. Where can they go in column 3? A 2 and an 8 block here. So these two squares must be a 2 and an 8. The 8, of course, blocks over. So here's a 2 and here's an 8. We have an 8 and a 9 up here and an 8 and a 9 here. So an 8 and a 9 must go in 2 of these 3 squares in some order, which I can't determine just yet. But we can place an 8 here because this 8 blocks across and this 8 blocks up. So yes, here's an 8. A 3, 5, and a 7 for these squares. 7 blocks over. One of these is a 7. 3 blocks over. One of these is a 3. 5 blocks over. One of these is a 5. That's not very helpful, is it? Since this is 7 blocks across here, one of these is going to be a 7 blocking up. So we also have a 7 in one of these 2 squares here. And the 2 also blocks across. So these 2 squares must be a 2 and a 7. That means that these 3 remaining squares must be a 3, 4, and a 6. The 6, of course, blocks here, and the 6 blocks here. So 6 must go here. And these 2 squares must be a 3 and a 4. And we are going to have a 6 in one of these 2 squares as well. We have a 1 and a 6 and a 9 in these 3 cells. We need a 1, 6, and a 9 for these 3 cells here. The 9 blocks here and here, therefore this must be a 9, and these must be a 1 and a 6 pair. That gives us a 1 up here, and here is why. One of these is a 1. This 1 blocks across here. This 1 blocks down. So in theory, both of these could be 1s, but now we look at this 1 blocking down, giving me a 1 for this square or for this square blocking up. So this square can't be a 1 after all, can it? So the 1 goes here. Now we have this 6 blocking down here, giving me a 6 either here, here, or here, blocking up. And that puts a 6 in this square here. 3, 7, 8 for these squares. The 2 8s block here and here, therefore this must be an 8. 3 and 7 now for these squares. We have a 2 here and here blocking these 4 squares, and we have these 2 2s blocking across like so. So up here goes a 2. 5 blocks over and up. One of these is a 5. Therefore, we are going to have a 5 here or here. But that doesn't do much for 5s in column 4, does it? Still no joy with the 4, 3, and the 5 here, I think. But since one of these must be a 4, and we have an 8 here, we also have 4 and 8 here. That tells me that these 2 squares must be a 4 and an 8 in some order. Therefore, these must be a 3 and a 5 in some order. A 2. Wow. So we got a 2 and a 7 here. We got a 2 and a 7 here. We got a 2 and a 7 here. The unique rectangle issue tells me that this square can't be a 2 and it can't be a 7. We could try to figure out what it then can be, but I can already see that it must be that I can't isolate any single digit here. It could be a 3 and it could be a 5. So I'll leave it for now. So instead I will, I think, return for a moment to block 3 up here. These squares must be a 3 and a 7. Therefore, these must be a 4, 5, and a 9. We got a 5 and a 9 blocking here, so this must be the 4, and these must be 5 and 9. Earlier we agreed, I think, that these must be a 4 and an 8. The 4 now forces an 8 to go here, and this must be the 4. Now we have a 6 and an 8 here and a 6 and an 8 here. So 6 and 8 must go in 2 of these 3 squares. We can place a 3 here because one of these is going to be a 3 because these are 2, 7, right? And this 3 blocks here, here, and here. The ghost 3 here blocks this square, so here's a 3. Now a 2, 7, and a 5 across here. We know that one of these is a 5. Now we know that one of these is a 5. And therefore we know that one of these two must be a 5. Let's see if we can do something else with column 4. We also need to find a 7 and a 6. And of course a 1. So 1 and 5 block here. So this is a 6 or a 7. 7 blocks here. So it's clear that one of these must be a 7. And I do remember that I said that this square had to be a 3 or a 5. So now we can enter a 5 here without even thinking more about it. This 5 blocks up, this 5 blocks across. So here's a 5. So 2, 7, 2, 7, 2, 7, and 2, 7 here. Now we took away a square for a possible 4. This 4 blocks here, this 4 blocks here, and this 4 blocks here. So here's a 4. 2, 7, and 6 here now. The 2 blocks here, this is 2 blocks here. So here's a 2. These are 1 and 6, therefore this must be a 7. And now we have a 7 here and we have a 2 here. And still a 6 and a 7 for these 2 squares. That's easy because this 7 blocks up, giving me a 7 here and a 6 here. Now remember how we said that the 6 and an 8 block it down. We also have a 6 and an 8 blocking across. So we know that these 2 squares have got to be a 6 and an 8. Can we do something intelligent with that information? I'm not sure we can. But we can do something up here, which is somewhat intelligent. This 6 and this 6 block these 2 squares. So here's a 6. And here now, a 3 and a 4. We also have a 3 and a 4 here, if memory serves. And a 3 and a 4 here. So 3 and a 4 here, 3 and a 4 here. That gives me a 7 here and a 3 here. And that gives me a 3 here and here and a 4 here and here. And this must be a 7. Still a 5, 9 here and still a 5, 3 here. Now this square is easy. It must be a 3. And we got a 4 and a 5 in these 2 squares. So 4 blocks up. Here's a 5 and here's a 4. 1, 6 here still, but now we got this 6 blocking down. So here's a 1 and here's 6. Here are 6 blocks over. So a 6 goes here, and the last number in the column must be a 5, which blocks across here. This 5 blocks across here, and this 5 blocks down. Here's a 5. 3 and 7 here. 3 blocks over, 7 goes here, and 3 here. These 2 squares must be a 1 and a 7. The 1 blocks over. Here's a 7, here's a 1. Now we have a 1 here. And we have a 7 here. because the 7 blocks down and these 7s block across. So yes, here's a 7. And 9 and a 3 for these two squares. 3 blocks down, here's a 9, here's a 3. And we are back to our 6 and 8 here. We can solve those because the 6 blocks over, giving me an 8 for this square and a 6 for this. This, of course, must be a 9. Which blocks up, giving me a 5 here and a 9 here. 5 blocks down, giving me a 5 here and a 3 here. 2 squares missing, these two, and they must be a 2 and an 8. The 2 blocks over, here's an 8, and here's a 2. And that is it for today's expert puzzle from El País. And today, of course, is the 17th of January, 2024. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.